All right, time to take a look at your swing. And remember, if you want to get your swing analyzed, you got to get the V1 Golf app. Send that video to me. You got to make me your coach. Michael Breed Golf, make me your coach. And send that in there. And then you'll get a chance to get your swing looked at. And by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, okay? It's great. You guys are doing a great job. Make sure you tell friends about what we've got going on over here. I want to get back into this and take a look at what Chris has got going on over here. Now, first thing that you look at, this is rule number 1. Anytime you're looking at a golf swing, look at what's going on before you put the club into motion. It's the most important thing, setup position. So what we have pre-swing and then we have in-swing. Pre-swing, before the club moves, and then in-swing when the club is moving. So the pre-swing here, this is what I'm looking at. Let me get in the drawing tools here. What I'm looking at is a very, very rounded back right there. Okay? Let me see if I can even draw that, and if the V1 app can hang on to that. That's the roundedness of that back. I want to get that straightened up a little bit more, okay? So that will create some real issues. It has a way of locking the hips down. So what you see here is the hips right here are extremely level. I mean, very, very level. But the back is really rounded. And all of a sudden, there's going to be a freezing action that goes on here, or there has to be some compensation, right? So let's see what the compensation is that Chris makes here. So he takes the club back, wheels it inside there, then stands up. Wow, look at how much he stands up. So that's how he did it. So what he did was he's taken this club inside, and then to get freedom, what he does is he lifts his body up, and now all of a sudden his spine has some freedom to turn, and it's no longer rounded there. So watch how much he lifts up here. Right there. So now, by doing that, he now has allowed himself to stand up. There's not been anything to create any restriction. So he's gone from restricted to unrestricted. And now what happens is, look at how much his head is turned. So if I go back to the very beginning, his head, let me erase that. His head is pretty buried in there. You really don't see much of his eyes. He gets up here, you can see his left eye. Club is really, really long. Flying right elbow there. There's a lot of weight on this line. You wouldn't see it. But if this was a face on, you would see a lot of weight on his forward leg right there, because he's done this. He's drifted like this, which is one of the reasons why you could see so much of his face. So he's drifted there. Now what happens? Let's see what happens here. Now he kind of comes over the top. This is, if you've ever been wondering what over the top looks like, this is what it looks like. So his golf club is basically coming down on this line right here. And there it is. And now he comes into it. It's a pull across. There's got to be now something has to happen, because there's a little toe weight going on here. So something's going to happen here. There it is. Look at all the spin out. Look at that. Look at that trail heel spin out. And look at the lead heel spin out. You get to a point where you can see the back of both shoes right there. Let me just draw a circle right here. Look at the back of both shoes right there. It's a bit of a hold on. And then an up and down. So watch his head here now. Okay, and the thing that's so interesting about this is so much of this has happened because of what's happened at address. Sounds crazy, but that's really the truth. So now he's here. Now, good athlete. He's not in a great position to hit this, but he's a good enough athlete to be able to make it work. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you something. Look at the calves on this guy. Chris, phenomenal calf work there, my man. I mean, we should all aspire to calves like that. That's fantastic. But watch what happens to the amount of movement that he's going to have in that head. So here's his head again. Now he goes up, 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 up. Look at him go up. So there's a lot of up and down in this swing. We go up, down, up, and recover. Okay. Now, we're going to need a face on, or down the line. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to feel like you take the club, you're going to put it just below your belt, and then what I want you to do is I want you to feel like you're going to push this back. So your rear end is going to go back this way. So when I have the shaft here, and I go back like that, that club shaft moves. It moves backwards. I don't want you to get in here like this and then just go like this where the shaft doesn't move. I want you to move that shaft backwards. Now when we're in here, now all of a sudden I've got proper balance and I also have some restriction. And so when we take this club back, now what I want to feel like, and in this situation, because of all the things that have been going on, what I want you to feel like is that when you're turning, you still feel like your rear is back here and your shoulders are out here. So we're going to turn this way. And the image that I like to have is I like to imagine that my spine is sort of in a tube and it's going to turn in the tube. Now, it won't do that, but it's what it's going to feel like in an image. So I've got my spine sort of in this tube and I'm just turning in this tube here and there. And then what ends up happening is when you look down at my feet here, and I'll move my right foot, you don't see the back of that shoe. It's not like that. It started like that. And it stays there. Because with my hips back, I now have weight back over here. So when I keep my spine in the tube, now the foot, the heel, is staying deep because the hips are staying deep. So make sure that when you get set up, you push those hips back and then imagine being in that tube both back and through, and you're going to be fine. That elbow's not going to come up in the air. The swing will get shorter, but you're going to have a lot more power, okay? All right. Now, let's see what Colin has going on. So let me erase that. And let's settle Colin into his address position right there. So the address position, the shoulders, I'd like to see a little bit more tilt here. Because what I'm seeing is, and again, it's hard for your eye to see this. You have to look at it for an extended period of time. But he's actually got his shoulders open to his toe line. So when we start talking about the alignment of the body, the toes, the knees, the hips, and the shoulders, they should be parallel. They'll be square. Well, his shoulders are open, which is why this forearm looks like it's closer to you than that forearm. You can see it. A big difference in that arm, that right arm is off of his body, and that's why those shoulders are so level. They're so literally almost level. And so the address position's got to change, okay? Now, let's see what we get here. Yeah, so now we get into a sway. That's exactly what happens. So once you're in that position, now all of a sudden the hips are going to sway out because you kind of lock yourself down. You get a little bit of a sway instead of a turn. Then there's a late turn. So watch these hips sway back. Then a late turn. Really long, like in the club. And the final thing that I see here, and this can be a bit of a problem, is hard to see it here because it's blurring, but look at the connection between his left thumb and his right palm. So what we want is we want that connection to be like that, and what you're going to see is his palm is going to come off of his thumb, which is why the swing is going to get so long. Check this out. See it right there? Look at that space that's right in there. So that's going to allow that to come off. Now he's going to recover that. When he recovers, he just can't get his body to rotate through. He can't get the weight to go through. And so all of a sudden, there's a lot of spin back on the toe. It almost looks like he's playing some baseball. Wouldn't surprise me if he was a baseball player when he was a little bit younger. Maybe even playing some softball now. That wouldn't surprise me because that's what you're gonna hit off sort of your back foot when you're doing that and spin that lead foot around, okay? So We got a couple things we got to do. One, and this is simple. My trail hand is closer to the ground than my lead hand. So when I hold the club, I don't hold the club like this with my hands sandwiched together like this. They're spread out like that, which means when I go down to the ground to get that, my shoulders have to have an incline. They got to be going upwards. So that's the first thing that we got to do. We got to get that to get in that position. Then from here, I want you to feel like this hip is going to open up. So if you look at the space between the columns here and my hip, you're going to be able to see that wood that's in between there. So if I stand up here like this, I'm going to put this down. I stand up here like this. If I slide my hips, that wood's going to disappear. When I rotate my hips, there's going to be more wood that's going to show up. So what happens is that because of the setup position and his arms are on top, so if you show the down the line view there, Gibbsy, the right arm on top of the left, this is going to go this way because it's blocked out. So you're going to go like that. So what we want to do is we want to feel the hips rotate like this. And then from there, the final thing is we want to keep that palm attached to the thumb. And a simple thing to do, hard actually to get into this, but simple to do, you take a tee, you're going to put it in your mouth, and then you're going to go and grip it like that so that's in there like that, okay? Now, put the club down there, tee in the mouth, put it in there like that. I got my tee held the way I want. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make some swings, and this would be where I started. This would be the place where I would start. So I would make some swings and keep that tee right in there between the palm and the thumb. Put that in there like that. Do it again. And just get a feel of the hands working together. That'll shorten that swing a bit. Okay? Then you can take that tee and you can put it down, and then we can put all of them together. So what we're going to do, and it's really one pre-swing thing and then two in-swing thoughts, right? So one in-swing, or pre-swing rather, shoulders have to get tilted. Then the in-swing is, I got to get this right hip, the trail hip, keep going in that face on if you would. I got to get that hip to spin back instead of sliding, so we got to get that to spin back, and then we got to make sure that that stays connected. So we're going to spin and stay connected with the palm to the finger. So here, address position, set up. You can just see a sliver of my left forearm above my right. And then we keep that connected and pivot the hip. And then we get a nice shot that's got a little bit of a draw to it. Okay, make sure that you have that club held properly and the hands are connected throughout the swing. Don't let those hands come out. I'm telling you, that's going to have such an effect on what happens with the club face, and it's going to create a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of errancy, okay? Plus, it'll get you out of balance there. So really, focus on that first, and that's an important thing to do, okay? Now, I love helping you improve your game. I love looking at these golf swings. The only way that I'm going to be doing this is through the V1 Golf app. So what you have to do is you got to download the V1 Golf app, and then you've got to get me as your coach. So you just sign up for your coach, Michael Breed Golf. Just do that and send those swings to me through the V1 app. We'll dump you into the system here and hopefully get a chance to look at your swing and help you with your golf game. Thanks so much for getting those swings into me. Really appreciate it. To improve all parts of your game, subscribe to my channel and click the link below.